Do you like melee builds? The general answer is usually no or indifferent because it was ignored by Warframe for so long that most players kind of just never really touched on it and never really had anything going for it. However, as of a few years ago, melee is now an extremely viable option to nuke and to blast through all of Steel Path, Archimedes, and everything like that. It's extraordinarily powerful. Not as powerful as some primaries, but if you have the right Warframe, it could be fantastic. If you're a newer player, or simply somebody that's returning, or somebody that just simply wants to try out melee, I recommend trying out Kullervo. Now, he is arguably one of the best melee Warframes in the entire game, and hands down, he is the best melee Warframe that doesn't have an exalted weapon. It's a toss-up between him, Valkyrie, Umbra. They're all incredibly powerful melee Warframes, and I think the usual consensus is between him and Valkyrie. But he does not have a single exalted weapon. He is simply solely pure melee damage. So before I even start on his abilities, I'll tell you what his general gameplay is real quickly. It's incredibly simple. You find a group of enemies, you cast 3, this links all the enemies together. Then you can cast 1, this will hit the enemies and they'll all take true damage. Essentially, every enemy connected will be hit for the amount of damage you hit that person for, with full 100% follow through and true damage. Follow through is a neat little mechanic that not a lot of people actually end up looking into or knowing about. I'll get to that in a moment. But true damage is unaffected by any form of damage, negation or anything like that. It just goes straight to the health. True damage, just as it sounds. So usually, if you're doing a nice melee build, this will nuke every single enemy there. And Wrathful Advance increases your critical chance by however much your strength is. Mine's about 500% critical chance. This essentially just means that every single weapon you use will have a red crit. Insane amounts of melee damage right there. Now, follow through is this mechanic right here. It should be under your combo duration. Some weapons may have 50%, some might have 20. There are some that have 100. Follow through on my code of Myra is 60%. So let's say you deal 1000 damage. You deal 1000 damage to one enemy with 1 slash of your weapon. That enemy will take 1000 damage. But let's say there's another enemy right beside them that your arc also hits at the exact same time. That second enemy will take 600 damage. You see that? 60%. Quite simple. Let's say there's a third enemy. 60% of 600 is 360. They will take 360 damage. So on, so forth for as many enemies as your weapon hits. Now, with Kullervo, follow through is basically not even a thing. Just nuke them all with no fall off, no follow through, just nuke them. So, his abilities are quite simple. His passive is essentially just 2 melee mods into one. Boosts his heavy attack efficiency by 75%, and then boosts his heavy attack wind-up speed by 100% on every single melee weapon. You'll be attacking faster, you'll be attacking better. Wrathful Advance, this one allows you to teleport. You can teleport by holding it down to any location, or you can simply just tap it, which teleports you to an enemy and you strike them. This one increases your melee critical chance. Next is Recompense. This one surrounds you with daggers and then they strike enemies to restore your health. But if you miss, you take a little bit of damage yourself. But what really matters here is the final part of this. When you have max health, you receive Overguard from struck enemies. Kullervo was the very first Warframe that introduced Overguard to the player. Now his Overguard cap is nowhere near the amount of Styanax or Dante's, but just being able to consistently regain not only your health but Overguard as well is incredibly useful. This basically just means you don't have to build up for your survivability at all. No health mods, no shield mods, probably a little bit of armor mods. You don't want to be dying too quickly, of course. Next is Collective Curse though. Like I already mentioned, this one binds the enemies together, and when you hit a cursed enemy, every enemy tethered to that enemy takes damage. This is nuking. This is how people kill with him. Next is Storm of Ukko. This one, I'm not even gonna lie, arguably probably his most subsumed ability. Not because it's bad, just because it's weaker than the rest of the kit, and people would probably rather put on Roar or something like that. So, the Void answers Kullervo's invocation with a storm of daggers that rain upon the enemies. Every dagger deals slash damage. and not just slash damage, but the slash status effect. This bypasses armor and shields and goes straight for the health. So this is a pretty good ability, and it has a nice radius with a nice duration. Unfortunately though, compared to the combo of casting Collective Curse and then Wrathful Advance, it's not as good. And then of course you can't get rid of Recompense, you need that Overguard. A usual build for him, from what I've noticed and played, it would be Strength with some range and Duration. Efficiency is usually like the last thing on people's minds, because you want Strength to be able to kill enemies much quicker, you want range to be able to attack more enemies, and then you need Duration so you don't have to upkeep as often. And then with doing those three, efficiency kind of just naturally lags, especially if you're going for an extremely high strength build, in which case you're going to have to sacrifice one or the other. This is my build. I do not recommend copying this build. It will take you through Steel Path and even Archimedes with ease, but I've not tested it in Elite Archimedes or anything beyond that, so I don't know how well it'll be past level 500. But essentially, the thing to expect from Kullervo is pretty simple gameplay, but extremely powerful. Like I mentioned, with his first ability, Wrathful Advance, he can turn any weapon into a powerhouse that can deal insane amounts of red crits. With this third ability, being able to tether the enemies together, this allows you to deal an insane amount of true damage, nuking any enemy in the vicinity, essentially. And it's not like you can only cast it once. Like, let's say you cast it and then not every enemy gets caught in it. This is a bad example because every enemy got caught in it. But you could cast it a second time. And then all you have to do is attack whatever enemy is tethered twice, and every single one of them will die. It's an extremely powerful ability. I'd say his gameplay is usually pretty active, simple, effective, and easy to understand. You can look at his abilities and know exactly what he does based off their descriptions. There's not a lot of hidden stuff in there. At the very least, none that will affect you negatively. I do recommend Kullervo for players that are trying to get into melee Warframes, or ones that simply just want to try out melee gameplay. As I mentioned, he'll turn pretty much any melee weapon into a powerhouse. But with that being said, that's just about it. Let me know what you think about Kullervo, whether you think he's interesting, not interesting, boring, tedious. There's one thing I'll mention before I end off the video. Farming him is a bitch. You have to have the Devere experience, which is a later game, and then naturally you have to farm that horrible experience for hours until you get all his parts and the materials for his parts. My recommendation is to wait until there is a percentage off for items you buy with plat, and then buy him with plat. I'm not even gonna lie, after farming for 8 hours and not getting all of his stuff, I simply decided to buy him. I was extraordinarily lazy, but the Devere experience is a cancer, a plague, and purgatory all at the same time. It was horrible, but that's my personal experience. I just don't like it. You might. With that being said, that's just about it. Until next time.